you've got fear, protection, territoriality, food, all these things that can trigger. It seems like none of these were in play at the time. What would trigger a dog to do this?
Well, a big thing that people tend to ignore, there's usually some kind of warning sign somewhere in the dog's behavior. So whoever owns the dog, most likely there was something, but dogs don't speak. You have to read their body language. So a lot of times it could be fearful. Sometimes it could just be dominant. Sometimes they're just getting away. I remember going to a friend's house one time, and this pit bull ran up on me, and I said, somebody better watch that dog. It's a party. I said, somebody's gonna watch that dog. That dog is gonna cause a problem at this party. And it kind of came and like checked me, and it was kind of like a little dominant check. And I said, oh, and they just have this dog running around this place? Okay. 10 minutes later into the party, little baby got bit, right? So the thing is that the signs are there, but we can't be in denial. And that's the thing, is when you see anything, you need to treat it like it's a red flag. And a lot of times people, they love their dog can do no harm, but I keep it real with people. I don't beat around the bush. I go, listen, you have a serious problem on your hand. You need to address it. And like I said, with this situation, I'm sure that there was something maybe you didn't recognize, but the owner, I'm sure at one point saw something in this dog that probably needed to be addressed that probably was overlooked.
Well, let's look at the body language to be aware of for dogs, because we want to know what to look for. One is avoidant behavior.
Correct.
And when you're talking about that, you mean just that. They don't want to engage with you in some way, right?
Right. Well, the thing is, like, a lot of people talk about leash aggression. Well, dogs have a fight or flight instinct. And if they can't run, if they're on leash, they only can fight. So a lot of times you'll see that same dog in a dog park running away and hide from everybody. So if they can't avoid, then they'll turn into a fight, right? And you have to be able to read that body language and say, this dog is not comfortable. And unfortunately, we live in today's society where people don't have manners. They don't ask if they can pet your dog. They just come up and pet your dog. And sometimes dogs are not comfortable. A lot of people aren't even social to let strangers walk up to them and shake their hand or put their hand over their shoulder, So we have to always keep in mind, especially with COVID, a lot of these dogs have not been socialized properly. Some of them aren't getting out because they're too much to handle outside, so they're not familiar with all of the different social environments that they need to be in. And then, again, just dominance. Dominance. Sometimes dogs are just punking their owners. They're walking around the house acting like they paid a mortgage.
Yeah.
And the problem is, people, they say, oh, my dog, they want to let the dog sleep with them. They want to let the dog jump on the couch. They want to let him eat off the ice cream cone. All of that stuff, it just contributes to humanizing. And for some dogs, that's not a problem. But for other dogs, it's a huge problem, and behavior will continue to escalate.
Jumping up. Is that playful behavior, or is that a warning sign?
I mean, some dogs jump up on you because they greet. Dogs like to lick in the mouth as a way to greet. So sometimes people reinforce that behavior because they let them do it, and it's cute when they're young, and then they get mad when the dog gets too big, and then they tell them don't do it. So it's not always a bad thing, but it can be part of, kind of linked to a dominant behavior, being too pushy, biting on your shirt, jumping all over you, rushing past you without really considering you. All of that kind of stuff is dominance, and there's in the characteristics and temperament that I was talking about, the 16 dimensions, there's dominance with dogs, and then there's dominance with people. And both of those need to be addressed, because dominance with dogs will end up a dog fight, and then the people will end up a biting situation.
Yeah, play biting?
Play biting is a no-go. Okay, no, you got dogs, I'm not a bite toy. Okay, I give the dogs toys to bite, and that's the only thing you bite.
Okay, and then ignoring commands.
Oh, well, that's a big one, because a dog needs to perceive you as a leader and a proper communicator. And if a dog sees you as a lower member of the pack and it's a very dominant dog, well, then the dog will probably take it upon itself to act more in a dominant fashion on the day-to-day.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.